All right, let's kick off this deep dive. We're all about getting into the nitty-gritty today, and today's subject, the 2025 Aprilia RS660 Factory.
Nice.
You ready to take a closer look?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm excited to learn more about this bike.
Yeah, it's been generating some buzz, and we're going to see what all the hype is about.
Yeah,
We've got a great article here from November 19th of this year, breaking it all down.
perfect timing to really understand what this bike is all about.
Yeah. And, we want to go a little bit beyond just like, the spec sheet,
Yeah.
the numbers, you know what I mean?
Right.
Really dive deep into what makes this machine unique and how it stacks up against its rivals in the sport bike market.
It sounds like we're about to get into the heart of what makes this bike tick and how it really fits into the bigger picture of sport bikes today.
For sure. And the first thing that really caught my eye, even before I got into the performance and all that stuff, was the design. Aprilia, they've gone bold with these MotoGP-inspired winglets built right into the fairing. It's not a look you see every day.
It's definitely eye-catching, that's for sure. And it's a design choice that seems to be gaining traction in the sport bike world.
Yeah.
It's not just about aesthetics.
Right.
These winglets serve a purpose. They actually improve the aerodynamics of the bike,
Interesting.
which can lead to better stability and handling, particularly when you're riding at those higher speeds.
So it's like form and function
Exactly.
coming together in perfect harmony.
A winning combination for sure.
So now let's talk about what's under the hood.
Let's get technical.
The RS660 Factory, it packs a 660cc parallel twin engine,
Okay.
which is interesting in itself because a lot of its competitors are going for those larger displacement engines.
You're right. A 660cc displacement might seem a bit modest compared to some of its rivals,
Right.
but Aprilia has managed to pull off an impressive 105 horsepower from this engine,
Wow.
which is actually a 5 horsepower increase from the previous model.
That's a decent jump.
It is, and what's particularly impressive is that they've achieved this boost in power
Yeah.
while still adhering to the latest Euro 5 plus emissions regulations.
So it's not just about raw power then,
No, it's not. They're clearly considering the environmental impact as well.
which is pretty commendable in a world where performance often comes at a cost to the environment.
Absolutely. It's a balance that more and more manufacturers are striving for.
Well, it's good to see that happening.
It is.
But it's not all about the engine, is it?
No, definitely not.
This bike is loaded with some seriously high-tech features.
It certainly is. The electronics package on the RS660 Factory is really one of its standout features.
Yeah, what are we talking about here?
Well, we're talking launch control.
Okay.
For those lightning fast starts off the line,
Nice.
we're talking cornering ABS to make sure you're safer when taking those turns.
Very important.
And then you've got adjustable traction control and wheelie control just to keep things in check,
Great.
no matter how enthusiastic you get with your riding.
Yeah, I can see those being very useful features, especially when you're pushing the bike to its limits.
Exactly. They're designed to enhance both the thrill and the safety of the ride.
Right. And they really show how Aprilia has put a lot of thought into creating a bike that's both exciting and safe to handle.
They really have considered the whole package.
All right, well, that wraps up part one of our deep dive into the 2025 Aprilia RS660 Factory.
Great. I'm already impressed with what we've learned so far.
Same here. I'm eager to hear more about the tech and how this bike actually performs on the road.
Me too. Let's dive back in.
Sounds good. We'll be back in just a moment.
And we can't forget about the ride-by-wire throttle.
Oh, yeah.
Gives you incredibly precise and responsive control over the engine.
That's a game changer, especially when it comes to fine-tuning your acceleration and throttle response.
It is. And it all adds up to a bike that's really designed to deliver a thrilling and safe riding experience.
Speaking of enhancing the ride, you know what really stood out to me in the tech department?
What's that?
The upgraded 5-inch TFT display with optical bonding.
Oh, yeah.
Clear visibility no matter the lighting conditions. That's going to be huge.
Absolutely. That's a feature that sometimes gets overlooked.
Right.
But it makes a big difference in terms of rider comfort and safety, being able to see all the information you need clearly at a glance.
Couldn't agree more, especially when you're focused on the road ahead.
Exactly.
Okay, well, let's shift gears a bit and talk about suspension.
All right, let's dive in.
This is where the factory edition really sets itself apart.
Okay.
Well, we're talking premium Öhlins components, 43mm NIX 30 fork up front, and an STX 46 rear shock.
Nice.
And the best part, both are fully adjustable, so riders can really fine-tune their ride to perfection.
That's a significant upgrade over the base model.
Yeah.
Öhlins is known for its high-performance suspension systems.
Right.
You get that responsiveness and adjustability that serious riders crave.
So you're saying for those who really want to push their limits on the track or maybe dial in their settings for specific road conditions?
Precisely for those riders, this is a game changer.
Now I'm curious, for the average rider out there, is this a bit of overkill?
That's a good question.
Could they get by with the KYB suspension on the base model?
You know, the KYB suspension on the base model is definitely no slouch.
Okay,
It provides a really solid balance of performance and comfort for everyday riding.
got it.
It really comes down to the individual rider's needs and preferences.
All right, so let's talk about those individual riders for a second. Who are the main competitors vying for their attention in this segment?
Well, you've got some heavy hitters like the Kawasaki Ninja ZX6R.
Right.
It boasts even more horsepower than the RS660 factory.
Yeah, it's a beast.
But the RS660 factory, it has a significant weight advantage.
Interesting. How does that play out in terms of riding experience?
Well, it translates to quicker transitions in corners and a more agile feel overall.
So it's not just about brute force.
Exactly. It's that agility and finesse that can make a big difference,
It's the classic David and Goliath story.
right? Sometimes the underdog can surprise you.
And then you have the Yamaha YZF-R7, a more affordable entry-level sport bike.
That's a great option for riders who are new to the sport bike world or maybe looking for a more budget-friendly entry point.
Right.
It's easy to handle and won't break the bank.
So where does the RS660 factory fit in then?
I think it's targeting a slightly more experienced rider who's looking for that step up in performance and technology.
Makes sense.
Someone who's ready to take their riding to the next level.
We can't forget about a couple of other contenders too.
Oh yeah, who are you thinking of?
The Triumph Daytona 660 and the Suzuki GSX 8R.
Absolutely. The Daytona 660 is known for its smooth inline-3 engine and its refined handling.
Yeah.
It's a well-rounded package for sure.
And the GSX 8R.
That one offers a good balance of performance and versatility, a bit more of an all-rounder, you could say.
So even with these strong competitors, what makes the RS660 factory stand out?
I think it's that combination of the advanced electronics package and that premium Öhlins suspension.
Right.
It offers a unique blend of performance and cutting-edge tech that's hard to beat.
All right, let's talk about price tags.
Okay, let's get down to the nitty-gritty.
The RS660 factory is going to set you back $13,999.
Right.
Which seems pretty reasonable considering all the performance and features you're getting.
It is a competitive price point for sure, especially when you factor in all the tech and those high-end components.
And if you're willing to forego the Öhlins suspension, you can snag the base model for $11,649.
There you go. So there's an option for those who are maybe on a tighter budget.
And of course, we can't forget to mention that dark Banshee color scheme.
Oh yeah, it's a head turner.
It definitely adds to the bike's aggressive and sporty aesthetic.
It does. It's a bold design choice. And it seems like Aprilia is really going for that eye-catching presence on the road.
It's a statement for sure.
It is.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, what does all this mean for the potential rider out there?
Well, that's the big question, isn't it? With all these features and comparisons, where does the RS660 factory really fit into the sport bike market?
It's a good question and a tough one to answer.
It is, but I think it occupies a really interesting niche.
How so?
It might not be the most powerful bike in its class,
Right.
but it excels in other areas that certain riders might find even more appealing.
Okay, so you're saying it's not always about brute force on the road.
Exactly. There's more to it than just horsepower.
So what kind of rider would be drawn to this bike's strengths then?
Well, I think the RS660 factory would appeal to those experienced riders who really value that balanced package.
Okay.
You know, the ones who appreciate that responsiveness and precision
Yeah.
you get from a lightweight machine.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, the cutting-edge tech
Right.
enhances both the performance and the safety.
Of course, can't forget about the safety aspect.
And then that premium feel.
Yeah.
You know, things like the Öhlins suspension.
It's interesting you emphasize experience.
Mm-hmm.
Why wouldn't this bike be as appealing to a newer rider?
Well, a new rider could definitely handle this bike. But I think its strengths would kind of be lost on someone
Right.
who hasn't developed those skills yet.
Okay.
You know, the experience to really appreciate those nuances,
Right.
like the handling,
Yeah.
the adjustable suspension,
Oh.
the advanced electronics.
So you're saying those are things that a more seasoned rider would really get the most out of?
Exactly. They'd be able to exploit those features and really enjoy them to their fullest.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
So for those riders out there who are looking for that perfect blend of performance tech style,
Yeah.
the 2025 Aprilia RS 660 Factory is a pretty compelling option.
I think so.
It might not be, the flashiest or the most powerful bike on the market,
Right.
but it's a contender.
Absolutely.
Shouldn't be overlooked.
Definitely not.
Well said.
Yeah.
So as we wrap up this deep dive
Yeah.
into the 2025 Aprilia RS 660 Factory, any final thoughts for our listeners?
When considering any motorcycle,
Yeah.
it's not just about, the specs on paper.
Right.
It's about that feeling
Mm-hmm.
you get when you're in the saddle, that connection you forge with the machine.
The experience.
Exactly.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. So go beyond the data.
Mm-hmm.
Find what resonates with you.
Right.
Find the bike that really speaks to your riding soul.
Well said. I think that's a perfect note to end on.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.
My pleasure.
We hope this has given you a better understanding of this awesome new machine from Aprilia.
Yeah, I hope so too.
And if you're eager to explore more two-wheeled adventures,
Yeah,
be sure to check out the other articles on our website.
that's right. There's always more to discover.
Until next time, ride safe.
Stay safe out there, everyone.